So, welcome everyone, I'm ButteryGreg, and we are here in game number 6 of the Esports Central Clan War League qualifier match between Team Legion and Decerto. We've got Team Legion's Avilo spawning on the right side as the green Terran, and his opponent from Decerto is going to be ZergZingZing spawning as the purple Zerg. I've had this discussion with people before. For some reason, saying purple Zerg is very difficult when introducing players. I don't understand why, but Legion's Mystic always plays as the purple Zerg, and I always trip over it when I'm trying to introduce him. I don't know why, but it's just, I think it's just the way the letters line up or something strange like that. In any case, we're playing on Dual Sight, which is a 2-player map. Some people like 2-player maps. I generally dislike them because I think 2-player maps really sort of give a favor to all-ins. Because when you know where your opponent spawns, you don't have to scout as early. And it doesn't look like the case like we're seeing economic builds out of both players. But if Zerg wanted to go for a 6 pool, right, he would have very little chance of messing up because he can just blindly make the pool and then just send his units directly to his opponent's base. He doesn't have to figure out where his opponent is. So I think that's why some people dislike these 2-player maps, because the early game is a lot more unpredictable because players don't necessarily have to play it safe if they want to go for a cheesy build. In any case, we're actually not seeing any cheese here. We're going to see a 15 hatch out of ZergZingZing, very standard ZVT, and in response, I would imagine we're going to see a bunker rush out of Avilo. Looks like he's going for 2 racks. He's got the sort of hidden second barracks in the south of his base. This SCV is going to chill around the natural here. Wow, this waterfall is really loud. I'm not sure how much this adds to the game. But anyway, this SCV is going to chill around here. Very nice use of the patrol drone here as a scout, spot the bunker rush when it happens. But what the hell? This SCV is returning to its base. It's not at all what I would expect. I want to see a bunker rush. Alright, well here we go. First Marine's getting ready to move out. He's just going to stop on the other side of his vent. Remember, this Overlord... I was going to say the Overlord can't see him, but he can. He can see over these air vents, or geyser vents, whatever you want to call them. They're vents on Metalopolis, so they're vents everywhere now. It looks like Avilo is going to go for that bunker rush. He's pulled 4 SCVs, which it seems is the magic number. He's lowered his barracks to the low ground. This is a really common trick. I don't want to name the player. It's either Boxer or Bomber. Sometimes I get them confused by name. Who does this very often. This is very safe because your barracks is that much closer. You don't have to run around, but if you get pressured, you just lift off and come back. So the SCVs are leading the way. ZergZingZing, though, has had a lot of time to prepare. He has Overlord in a great position, so he had a lot of scouting information, and Avilo's forced to start these bunkers pretty far back. There's a lot of Zerglings here, and Avilo's got to do some pretty good micro here to try to stay alive, but he's not going to be able to make it until any of the bunkers finish, so he's pretty much just going to be forced to cancel these. There we see the triple cancel all at once. And strong Zergling counterattack coming out of ZergZingZing. This is not really the position that Avilo wants to be in. However, these are slow Zerglings, so he can do a decent job of microing Marines against them, except this Marine is rallied to the wrong place and he's just going to die. Anyway, though, the failed bunker rush there actually does not put Avilo that far behind, and I think that's one of the interesting dynamics in early game TVZ. It affords him the ability to harass his opponent, but he can still expand. You know, he can still do a relatively fast expansion. He's got this command center. It's been building for 45 seconds, so he started it a little bit after 5 minutes. And a 5-minute expansion is pretty good timing. It's pretty economical, but at the same time, it pays off for him because he's able to force the Zerglings out of his Zerg opponent, and he's able to just force his Zerg opponent to do something in the early game. Players tend to execute builds better when they're not engaged. If he can just focus on his macro and get all of his build order timings down, he's going to do it perfectly. But if he has to micro units against your attack, then he could slip up. You know, he could miss an Overlord or something. You know, he's not going to miss an Overlord at this level, but in general, he could make some small mistake. He could slow his build down. So early pressure is very good, and especially as Terran in TVZ, because you're able to force him not to make drones. And this is, as so many have said, the game of drones. And behind this expansion, we see that avilo's actually going to be going for double factory. Cool. He might be going for a mech TVZ build as well. I haven't seen mech TVZ since I last watched Trump play. I keep referencing Trump, but I think he's a great guy, and it's a lot of fun to watch him play, so he's got some pretty neat builds that he does. And one of them is a very heavily mech-focused build. In any case, ZergZingZing is morphing up a bunch of banelings. He's on 2 bases, but despite a relatively large amount of map control, he's not going for an early third, so I hesitate to call this an all-in, but it is going to be a very aggressive baneling bust here. And he's definitely going to take out this light evo, and he's going to get in here with these banelings. Avilo's going to have to split his Marines. He's doing a great job splitting, but a couple of big Marine hits. Very nicely cleaned up by Avilo. There's still a Zergling somewhere. There we go. Pulls all his SCVs to tank for his Hellion. I'm not sure that that was necessary because he cleans up those Zerglings very, very easily. And now with a Hellion and a bunch of Marines, he's able to chase the Lings out of his base. No problem. So, I think that that attack did not go very well for ZergZingZing. He really does not have as many drones as he would like. He's only got 30 drones, which for 2 base Zerg is quite low, and he hasn't taken a 3rd base or created another hatchery. Which, while I wouldn't say he's all in, if he stays on this course for a while, it's going to become all in. This is a very clever building placement from Avilo. I think he should repair this barracks though, but he's using these barracks to form, or he's using all of these structures really to form sort of an infinite wall, and he's using his in-base orbital to get a lot of extra income, because it's not very safe for him to take an expansion. You know, there be banelings on the map, there's a lot of Zerglings moving around, that kind of stuff, but he can still get the benefit of these additional mules and increase his 1-base income for the time being. So we got another bunch of Zerglings running up here, but no banelings this time. And Hellions, man, Hellions are great against Zerglings, so this little pressure here is not going to last much longer. Soon, I think Avilo will be comfortable, especially once he gets the starport, not Stargate. Protoss has Stargates, Terran has starports. Once this starport comes up, Avilo's going to be in a good position to regain the map control that he lost early on, because Zerg is good at maintaining map control, of course. So, once he has that, he's going to be able to take his expansion. He spots the Zerg 3rd, and so he's most likely going to commit to some pressure here because he knows that Zerg invested a lot of money in Zerglings earlier, so he doesn't have that many drones, and he's taking a 3rd without necessarily having the workers to saturate it immediately. So if Avilo could deny this 3rd, that would be great. Looks like he's going to get... Oh no, he doesn't get the Queen, but it was close. The Marines come down here, they force the cancel, and now he's going to use his Hellions against... hopefully against the Ling army, but there's a couple of Roaches out. Hellions are not very effective against Roaches, but when you have this many, sometimes they're able to do damage. Holy shit, these Hellions do so much damage to these Zerglings. Avilo microing back and forth as much as he can, cleans up what must have been at least 30 Zerglings there. He's able to retreat with almost all of his Hellions. At the same time, he has taken his natural, and this means that the 2 players are kind of even in bases. Oops, I have the unit tab all the time. Despite the same number of bases, Zerg still has a slight econ advantage because he's got more drones, so that means he's able to mine more gas in particular. And as we move forward into the mid-game, we're going to see a lot more tech units out of both players. Avilo's been making Marines and Hellions, which really only cost minerals, but now he's got his starport, so he's going to start making medevacs, he's going to start going for drops. He could just run by with these Hellions. This is only 1 spine crawler. There are now a bunch of Roaches here, though, a couple of banelings. But when he gets this medevac down here, he's going to be able to pick up, move into the main base, and there's no static defense in the Zerg main, so he could get a number of drone kills. At the same time, I would like to see him take another base behind this. He's saturated his natural, but it's not going to last very long. And of course, Zerg is going for his 3rd again, so if Terran wants to stay equal, he needs to begin construction on that 3rd base pretty soon. Let's go back to the production tab before I forget. So at this point, ZergZingZing is getting into a relatively comfortable mid-game. He's got his layer tech, he's got his Spire coming out, so he's going for what I would consider the standard TVZ mix. Hold on, we have a drop. Very effective blue flame Hellion drop. He's going to kill a lot of drones. I think ZergZingZing did the correct thing there, not pulling his drones for a while, but eventually he's forced to pull them back in. Avilo is just cleaning up on drones. Look at the workers kill tab. He's got 15 workers killed, and now, he kind of missed micros there. He should just pick up his Hellions and get out of there. He's really struggling to pull off a couple of extra drone kills. I think he doesn't really need to, but see, he could have picked up and moved to natural earlier. Oh no! Drop in the natural. Do it! Do it! Do it! Okay. Blue Flame Hellions, way too strong. These Hellions are trapped now, but he's still going to do a ton of damage to these drones. He gets another 4, 5, 6 kills. All these drones have red health. It looks like they've been hit with some Baneling bombs. And Avilo is up to 24 workers killed. That's a lot of drones for ZergZingZing to lose. It's going to cost him a lot of larvae to replace them. But as I was saying, he's moving into this very standard mid-game. We've got the Spire up, so he's going to be going for Mutalisks. That's good. And he's going to go for Zerglings and Banelings to support them. And this is very effective against the standard Terran composition on the opposite side, which would be Marines and tanks, and ultimately Thors. However, we see that Avilo is foregoing the Marines. He's got some barracks, but not as many as you would generally see on 2 bases, and he's got a lot more factories. So he's actually going to be going for a very heavy mech-focused build again, it's more of just a composition at this point. Like, we're in the mid-game, so it's a mech composition that he's doing at this point. Really, we might even be in the late game. It depends on how you slice it. Both players have a lot of tech at this point, so it kind of counts as the late game. However, Avilo is only sitting on 2 bases. I think he's got his command center going down here in the natural. He absolutely needs to get this 3rd going soon because Zerg has been able to get his 3rd running. Trying to look to see if there's any harass I'm missing. Avilo's got 4 more Hellions in position. If he gets another medevac to pick these up, he could do a lot more harass. I think his best bet would be to go down here for the 3rd. Maybe the natural. The natural looks the least defended, but the 3rd is, of course, the most juicy target. However, ZergZingZing, being very proactive with his mutas, doing a great job here, picking off these exposed Hellions, which of course have no anti-air of their own. And behind that, he's taking the gold base. This is an awkward as hell gold base. Holy crap. This is one of the things they changed on the newer versions of Dual Sight. This is actually an older version of this map. These 2 golds only have 5 mineral patches and 1 rich Vespine geyser. The GSL introduced rich Vespine geysers at some point. I think it was a GSL. It may have been MLG, but it was one of the 2 unofficial map groups, and they haven't really caught on. I know like MLG Daybreak has some rich Vespine geysers, but and what that means is just that you mine faster. So it's somewhere. This is sort of a reduced strength expansion. It's somewhere in between a normal base and a gold base because you don't have 2 geysers, but you mine more per trip. In any case, we got the Mutalisk harass coming in here. This is a huge number of Mutalisks. He's easily going to be able to cut through these air defenses. And there are no Thors back here, so ZergZingZing really has complete control over the Terran base. And Avilo's response to this is, I believe, the correct one. He's going to say, screw this, I'm just going to go kill you, which is pretty much the best choice because it would take him forever to get back here. He's actually losing a lot of supply depots, but he has a very strong army. ZergZingZing is out of position, and his army is weaker because it consists mostly of Mutalisks and Zerglings. So as we move forward, we see that, oh, very nice point defense drone. In case you guys didn't know, PDD stops Mutalisk attacks, so 1 Raven can completely nullify a flock of Mutalisks like this. And I actually don't see that very often, but I think that's a great move on Avilo's part. He's got his Thors engaging the Mutas. He's actually doing a ton more damage with the splash damage. Here comes the very big bust of ZergZingZing. He's got way too many Banelings and Roaches, so he's going to be able to clean up Avilo's mech army quite handily. And I think that Avilo is probably going to lose this game with this bust. And unfortunately, it looks like this is pretty much due to him letting the Zerg get out of control. He was forced to sit on 1 base for a very long time, and ZergZingZing was able to take his 4th, and of course now he has the gold going. I perhaps shouldn't call the game over yet, but ZergZingZing definitely has a significant advantage. Pull up the units tab. He's got 17 extra drones, so he really has 60 extra food worth of army units, and Avilo does not have very much in the way of defenses. There's a large number of Banelings rolling in here, and Banelings are great against all of these units. They're just going to chew through these SCVs. And roaches, of course, while susceptible to splash damage, they can just move forward and pick off these tanks very effectively. So, I believe we're going to see a GG from avilo very shortly, as he is pretty much out of workers, out of income. And I think ZergZingZing will take the game, and that, of course, will bring the series to 4-1, no, 4-2, I'm sorry. avilo won 2 games, he did a great job winning 2 games there. It's going to bring the series to 4-2 in favor of Decerto. And I believe that means that Decerto will be qualifying for the Esports Central League over at lag-league.net. So you guys should definitely keep an eye on them in future weeks. We've got some really impressive play tonight. I'm just going to summarize things while it's ending. I don't really think that avilo can come back. He's got a drop here at the gold, but I think ZergZingZing is way too far ahead. And he's beginning to pick off all of avilo's production tech. I do like this resilience, of course. It's good to stay in the game until it's for sure over. But anyway, so yeah, you know, you guys should check out Esports Central and check out lagleague.net, and keep an eye on Esports Central Clan League, which is going to be getting started. The first official matchup is beginning the week of June 2nd, I believe. All the schedules will be posted on the Clan World website. Looks like avilo is actually continuing to make a last stand here. I don't know. I would poll the audience, but there's a 3-minute delay, so by the time you guys hear about this, I think the game might have ended. However, I will say ZergZingZing is being patient, at least. I think he could pretty much A-move into this, because avilo really does not have very much in the way of units. But the smart thing would be to get a bunch of Mutalisks, because, you know, Mutalisks hard counter planetary fortresses since they can't shoot air units. And most of his army is roaches on the ground. We've got another drop from avilo. He's able to pick off this gold, but I don't like, unless he gets some kind of a miracle drop here where he manages to snipe 3 bases with just this one pack of Marines. I think he's going to be forced out the door very soon. Looks like those Mutalisks have finally spawned, and I'm sure that ZergZingZing is going to send them up here to deal with this planetary fortress very soon. Kind of come over here and wait. There are a couple Banshees. Banshees are great against ground units, but Mutas, unfortunately for avilo, are very strong against Banshees as well, because Banshees can't attack air either. Another Zergling at the counterattack coming up here, and with the Mutas in here, it's definitely going to spell the end of avilo's bases. I can really only say that the game has ended so many ways before. I mean, it's been redundant the whole time, but I can only come up with so many creative ways to restate it. We finally got these Mutas moving over here. They're going to just focus down this planetary fortress. Oh no, he's actually going for the Star Forts first. Interesting choice. There is a lot of Marines over here, so ZergZingZing really does need to be careful. He can't just waste these. I mean, he's got infinite money because he controls the entire map at this point, but he doesn't want to waste these Mutalisks because it'll take longer to finish the game at that point. We can just sit and enjoy the soothing sounds of lava flow while we wait for the Zerg apocalypse to engulf the Terran army. Oh, there's one lone blue flame heli in here. 0 kills though. And avilo, you know, landing his command center because it didn't get killed earlier. And there's another one floating over here. He could land this and call down a bunch of mules over here. He could get a lot of income, but he just doesn't have the production to spend it at this point. He's slowly clawing his way back up the food count. But I do not envision an appropriate army composition appearing to counter this roachling muta ball, if you will. I'm a little curious as to why ZergZingZing doesn't just kill his opponent, but this is a lot of Marines right here, so He does need to be careful, but I think he could definitely... If he just committed to a big push, he could definitely kill this, and then he's going to have more than enough larvae stocked up at all of his hatcheries. Holy shit, how did I miss these banshees? Anyway, as I say, he'd have more than enough larvae stocked up that he could easily just re-max his additional army. He's going to get this queen. I commented on these banshees earlier, and then I forgot to follow them. Anyway, as soon as the mutas get down here, they're going to die because they have run out of energy, so they're not able to cloak anymore. He's not even going to get the spire, unfortunately for him. One lone marine there gets picked off as well. Avilo's actually got a lot of command centers sort of strewn about the map, but at this point his biggest challenge is that he doesn't have enough production to spend the massive income that he's acquired. So he's going to need to add some barracks if he wants to try to make any use of that. And finally we see the flock of mutas heading north towards Avilo's primary base, as all of his production is concentrated in this one area. And, ooh, haha, we've got the Manor proxy hatches coming up here. This is what I wanted to see right here. ZergZingZing is expressing his displeasure at the fact that Avilo has not yet left the game by saying, hey, I have enough drones and money to just make bases in your base, because why not? I'm gonna run in with these roaches here. Still using mutalisks against marines, which is really not a very good idea. Oh no, the mutas run over the marines and they get decimated. He had 16 mutalisks like 10 seconds ago. But again, it doesn't really matter because he has so many other ground forces. So finally the marines get picked up a little bit late on the SCV repair, but these roaches... Oh my goodness, the SCVs have more repair per second than the roaches do damage, but finally the mutalisks show up. Oh, and another beautiful point defense chunk. But in the end, it's going to be too little, and the roaches should almost certainly be able to overcome this. He's got to clean up some of these barracks so that these banelings can get in here. There we go, using banelings against the planetary fortress. That's how you know you have money to spend. And here's another proxy hatch. This one's actually finishing. Alright, and finally we see the GG from Avilo. So that confirms that Team Legion is going to be defeated by Decerto 4-2. I almost said 4-1, but it's 4-2. So great games, everyone.